So last night I went on to a page I follow. It's Dr. Berg's keto and intermittent fasting page. And I saw a mom talking about how she had an autistic son and wanted to know if anybody had used keto to treat. And I have. So I commented, and I don't remember if it was the mom or someone else who said, could you post what your experience was? So I did, and I chose to make a whole new post because I know a lot of times things can get lost in comments, and typically on posts like that there could be hundreds, if not thousands of comments. So I make this post, and I really just thought it was going to be a few people that got some good information out of it. I share with my friends on Facebook all the time about things that I've done for my family, and while I may have encouraged a few of my friends to change some of their dietary habits or change their children's dietary habits, I'm pretty sure that my voice just kind of gets lost. But I've always taken the stance that if you help just one person and their life changes because of something you gave to them in a positive way, it's totally worth it to annoy all the rest of the people on my Facebook. So I really didn't expect that so many people were going to comment. I'm sorry, I thought I was going to do this without crying. I can't express to y'all how much it's touched me to have you say that my story gives you hope for your own children or your own lives. So mission accomplished if I've just reached one person, and it seems that I've reached many. So I want you to know there is absolutely hope. And I know that this seems overwhelming and scary and hard and impossible. I want you to know it's not true. It's totally possible, and you can do this, and you're not alone. There are so many parents out there like me and my husband that did this, and we felt alone too, but the more you talk about it, the more you realize you're not alone. So, short story, basically we used paleo and keto diets to help our son's autism. Now, when we started this, it's not at all what our intention was. I was listening to a podcast, a Joe Rogan podcast, where he had Dr. Kelly Brogan on his podcast. And she's a functional medical psychiatrist. She was a regular psychiatrist. She had some life-changing moments. I greatly encourage you to pick up her book. It's called A Mind of Your Own. But she was talking about how she'd gone through an experience with Hashimoto's and changing it through diet, and it woke her brain up about, well, what else can food do? And while I was listening to this, I stopped it and I thought, okay, my husband and I are traveling to Tulsa, which is about an hour and a half from where we live. And we love to listen to podcasts together. I wanted him to hear what was being said. So we listened to it, and we both had this awakening when we were listening to it. I don't really know another way to explain it other than it was an awakening. And I have fibromyalgia, and I was in the midst of a very bad flare-up that had lasted for months. I had seen every doctor under the sun. My regular practitioner refused to refer me to a rheumatologist. Of course, insurance, everything is so difficult. I had seen a spine specialist. I had had MRIs. I'd had a CAT scan. I had had epidural injections. There was no doubt that the pain was there. I had previously lost 150 pounds, which I had done way before I knew about keto or paleo or intermittent fasting. And that had helped me with my pain. So I thought, well, maybe I need to lose weight again. I don't know, because I think I put 40 pounds back on. But I didn't think that it was just the weight itself that was causing the pain. I wasn't sure what it was, but the resort was to send me to a pain clinic, which cost me $500 to see a doctor for 20 minutes, feel like I was being treated like a drug addict, and handed a plethora of pain pills that make me very sick. And I knew they weren't going to fix it. I knew pain medication wasn't going to make the pain go away. And I was at my wit's end because I was tired of living in a constant pain. So what I ended up doing was listening. I'm listening to this podcast, and I said to my husband, what would it hurt? What would it hurt? 30 days. Let's do it. Let's do a detox. Let's get rid of everything. And the original detox, I think we even got rid of caffeine. And in a month, you're supposed to start adding things back. But it was a paleo detox. So no legumes, no dairy, no refined sugars, no grains, no soy. It was pretty intense. And I did lose 20 pounds. Unfortunately, I gained it back again. And that's a whole nother story. And I'm in the middle of working on that. But when we set out to do that, we had no idea, none, that it was going to do for our kids what it did. When the school year just ended, so I think we started June 3rd of a year ago. And we had just been figured out that our other son had ADHD, which we knew he had a serious focus problem. He was all over the place all the time, and he couldn't remember anything, wasn't turning in his assignments on time, wasn't finishing his assignments, was off topic all the time. So we knew there was a focus problem, but we didn't know what to do to help. So the original intent was to just, kind of help me. And if there was other things that happened from it, hey, great. Well, within a week, we knew that this was not just going to be a 30-day detox, that our life was going to be completely different. And we scrapped everything out of our pantry. I mean, I probably gave away or threw away at least $400 worth of food. And so, with our boys, and this is where people are asking me, how did you do it? How did you get your kids to eat? Let me tell you, our sons were very picky eaters. And I guess I should add in that my husband and I have been married just over, let's see, it'll be, so 2.5 years. And when we met, he had the boys. I have 3 older children from a previous relationship. He had the boys, and their bio mother was not around. So I was happy to be their mom, and I did adopt them last October. So when I met them, they literally were living on what my husband calls the beige diet. So they wanted to eat grilled cheese sandwiches, so he would make them the night before for their school lunches, and they totally ate cold grilled cheese sandwiches. They would eat that. They would eat French fries, scrambled eggs, and toast. They really didn't like bacon or sausage. As a matter of fact, my youngest son hated bacon, which I told him straight to his face, listen, I can't trust anybody that doesn't like bacon, so you're going to need to like bacon. Good news is he loves bacon now. Anyway, they liked cheese pizza, and let's see, what else did they like? Of course, they liked, I think they were even kind of skeptical about some fruits. I don't even think they liked bananas. I think they liked maybe strawberries, watermelon, zebra cakes. Those are little Debbie cakes. Loved soda, orange soda, root beer soda, Dr. Pepper, and what my husband called clear juice. So basically it was Hawaiian punch without any dye in it, so it didn't stain the carpet. So their diet was extremely limited. They didn't even eat ketchup or ranch dressing, a lot of things that a lot of kids their age really, really like. So the first thing I did was I got rid of all the soda and the juice, and it became you can have a soda once a week on the weekends, and that's it. And so whenever we did eat out a lot at the time. So when we ate out, they stopped getting sodas and they just got waters. I got rid of the juice completely. I knew there was, and I knew there was sugar in soda too, but you live and you learn, and it was a lot of trial and error. The second thing I did was get rid of the white bread, and I started buying the whole wheat white bread. And then Probably a couple weeks later, I introduced like a full whole grain wheat bread that had the nuts and the seeds in it, because at the time I thought that this was healthy. I started making them, sandwiches with different kinds of cheeses and turkeys and lettuce on it, and giving them fruit and all kinds of things like that. And for a long time, they ate things like, fruit snacks in a bag and stuff like that. But I didn't, the other thing I did too, because I thought this was really brilliant, totally not, is I think I switched them from the whole milk to skim milk. Sometimes when I reflect on some of the dumb things that I've done because I thought they were healthy. Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. So little by little, we started reintroducing foods. So what we ended up doing at the time was we would, I think what we said is, if you don't eat your dinner, then you don't get any TV time or playtime after dinner. You're just gonna have to go to your room and read, or whatever it is that they did at the time. So they love television. A lot of kids do. So that really helped them to be motivated to, get their dinner finished. I think I know what it was. Also, the other thing too is if we had dessert, they couldn't have dessert unless they finished their dinner. And there were quite a few nights that they missed out on one or two of those things, and they weren't very happy about it. So we had already kind of established introducing other foods, and they had gotten better at eating those things. And then we sold our house and bought a new house, and then I decided to become a stay-at-home mom again, so I had more time to really think about a lot of different things. And let me tell you that it's so hard working full-time and trying to figure all these things out on top of it, but it can be done, because I did go back to work for a little bit, and I did manage both of them. Although I think we still made, different choices that we probably would have made, we won't make today. It was still heaps better than what we used to do. So when we moved into this house, we decided, and I came home, we decided that eating out didn't need to really happen so much anymore. So we weren't eating out very much anymore. All the dinners I was making at home, not everything was from scratch. There were still things that came out of a box. But I noticed that my kids, when they didn't like to eat something, they would save it for the last, and then, they'd pull the, I'm full, or, dicker around with it until you were so tired of watching them eat it, you just threw their plate in the sink. So the first rule that we made was that they had to eat what they didn't like on their plate first. So if it was vegetables, then it was vegetables. And we started introducing a whole bunch. So my kids, they thought corn was a vegetable. We don't eat corn anymore, but we gave them asparagus. We gave them Brussels sprouts and broccoli and cauliflower and peppers and all different kinds of shades of lettuce and spinach and you name it. And it's funny because my son with autism loves asparagus. It is one of his favorite things to eat. And if you saw the way they used to eat, you would have never have imagined in a million years that that's the way that they eat now. Anyway, so we did that, and we were still kind of struggling with how long it was taking. So I came up with this idea that we would set a timer, and if they didn't eat within that time frame, then they lost out on TV, dessert if we did have it, whatever, or sometimes it was just you have to go to bed after dinner. And by the time we had dinner, usually it was kind of late enough that they weren't really going to bed a whole heap early. It was maybe an hour early, but so that's what we did. Because it was getting obnoxious sitting at the table, constantly reminding them to eat. If you put the timer in place, we stopped having to do that. I think we tried poker chips for a while. Every time I caught them playing with their food or chewing with their mouth open or whatever, I took a poker chip away. Poker chips bought stuff. And that kind of went by the wayside, although it might be a great idea for somebody else. For us, it kind of got like it didn't work. So we started out with 45 minutes for the timer, and then we went to 30 minutes. And now we don't even use a timer at all. So we had made a lot of changes in our kids' diets before we decided to do this. But when we decided to do this, we picked a date, which was June 3rd. And I think we had a week. And we talked about it a lot. We said, listen, Mom's got fibromyalgia. It hurts all the time. Evan's got ADHD, Dalton's autistic, Dad wants to lose some weight. We all want to get better. And we're going to try this and we're going to see how it works. So we're going to do this and we're going to do it for 30 days. And that means that we're not going to have sodas. We're not going to have dessert. We're not going to eat out anymore. We're not having cereal anymore. Let me tell you, by the way, I do not miss the cereal aisle, not even a little bit. And now that I think about it, how the heck was that ever good for anybody? I mean, if you think about it, you're pouring grains in a bowl and dumping milk over it, and we call that a nutritious meal. Anyway, so we talked a lot, and every day we talked about it. We talked about what we were going to do and what it was going to look like at home and all of the foods that we're going to have, and that we didn't know if this was going to be something that we were going to do for a long time or if it was just going to be for the 30 days. And as soon as we knew, we would tell them. And a week into it, and which coincidentally we ended up driving across country because I missed my flight for our son who's just turned 19. He was graduating from high school, and our first grandbaby was born. And so we were going to go, and they're in the same town in Washington. So we decided to go. So we traveled like this too, and it was a real learning curve. Now we travel all the time, and we take a lot of things from home, kitchen utensils and a cutting board, and we cook a lot of meals in our hotel room, or we just eat stuff that you don't even have to cook. It just is. It's so much more cost effective too, but. We've mastered to the best right now, we think anyway, until they throw us a curveball. But we've mastered the art of being able to travel and eat the way we eat. But anyway, I knew within a week that this was going to be our life, and the boys adjusted to it really well. So I guess if you're going to do this, the best way is to start, to sit down and talk to your kids if they're old enough to understand. But you remember that you're the boss. You are the boss of what goes in your house and what goes in your kids' mouths. And I get that there's older kids that go to school and you don't have a lot of control over that. You're right, but you do have control over what they eat when they're at your house. And all you can do is keep communicating with them. That I know that you feel like you're missing out on something, but you're not. You're not missing out on anything. You're not hurting your kids. You're not breaking their hearts. You're not destroying their childhood. My mom calls me the food Nazi. She does it lovingly, of course. But she says your kids have amazing growth because of it. So she gets that it's helped. I try so hard not to be that person that always talks about nutrition, but it's really hard not to talk about it because of how many amazing things have happened. And my husband lost 45 pounds. He looks freaking great. And Evan's ADHD gone. And with it, by the middle of the school year, it was totally gone. There was no more, focus issues, turning things on time. As a matter of fact, we got a letter from the school that he's been recommended for the Gifted and Talented program. Something that I don't think would have happened had we not fixed that for him. And I chronicled all the things that had happened for Dalton, but I forgot to add that he learned how to ride a bike. That was probably one of the greatest moments as parents, is that he learned how to ride a bike. So, and he's good at it too. So, these changes can happen. They can happen to anybody. And your children deserve health, and they deserve not to struggle, and they deserve to be able to be at school and concentrate. There is so much sugar in their food, so much. It's unbelievable. And if you sat down and looked at all the things that you ate and actually cataloged how much sugar and how many carbs you were getting every day, it would blow your mind. I don't think you realize how much you eat it until you're not eating it. And it's insane. The eating that way did help my flare-ups quite a bit. Whenever I stray outside of that and I have a little too much dairy from here, which I shouldn't even have dairy because I'm allergic to it. But when I do, because I'm human and I make mistakes, I have flare-ups, and they're not fun, not at all. Heartburn, we had heartburn, that's gone. My husband had high blood pressure. That's gone. We both had digestive issues. Mine were worse than his. Those are gone. There is not as much gas in my house as there used to be, which for you ladies, I'm sure you would be happy to hear that. I live in a house full of boys, so yeah. There's a lot of different things that happened because of that. My hair, I have new hair growth all over the place. I have a ton. My hair has been growing like a weed. My nails look healthy. My skin looks great, except for there. I've got some icky bags today. I don't think I slept very well because I kept thinking about all the people. I kept waking up and thinking about all the people that had commented last night. But my sleep is improved. My husband used to take melatonin every night to sleep. He doesn't have to take that anymore. Let's see. Dalton also took melatonin. He no longer takes melatonin either. Neither one of my children are on any medications, and they weren't because we decided we did not want to do that to them. Let's see. There's just, I don't even know if I could remember everything, but this is possible. It's possible for you. It's possible for anybody. But I highly suggest that you think about reward systems that don't include food, because we don't do dessert anymore. I have a theory that autism is an inflammatory disease based on a lot of research that I've done. And sugar is inflammatory. And it's so interesting to me that your body craves the stuff that's actually making you sick. And what do all autistic children love? They love carbs, dairy, and sugar for the most part. And that's all they want to eat is those specific foods. Those are the same foods that continue to make them inflamed and continue to make them sick. So it's imperative you get them off sugar. I do allow Eben, the one with ADHD or had ADHD, to have sugar occasionally. It is a rare and it is a treat. And for Dalton, I always offer something sugar-free for him to have because he is still a kid. And I want him to not feel left out. It's very hard for him to wrap his head around that he should never have sugar again. And I try to get this into his head every day because at some point he is going to have the freedom to do things, and I want him to continue to make those choices. During the school year, he made some bad ones and got into some stuff, and we had to go through the withdrawals all over again. And the light in his eyes was gone. He was having behavior issues again. He was having meltdowns again just by getting into that stuff. And that was just stuff that he was getting a little bit of at school. He cannot handle sugar. He cannot handle it so much that when he does eat sugar of any kind, his eyes dilate so big it looks like he's on cocaine. We took him to a specialist thinking it was seizures, and it wasn't. It was the sugar. The minute we took him off the sugar, his eyes stopped doing that. So there is power in the food that you eat. You are literally made of the food you eat. Your skin replenishes itself every couple of months, and it literally builds itself on the food that you're eating. What do you want to be made of? What do you want your children to be made of? I'm probably going to make some more videos. I know I have a lot to say about a lot of stuff, and I just mostly wanted to say thank you to everybody who shared with me their personal stories. I wanted to let you know how I did it. I'm sure you all would like to see a video of what I pack my kids for lunches. I'd be happy to do that for you. If you have any questions, please feel free to message me or comment on this, and I'll walk you through everything that I do, and hopefully I'll get better at videos because this is my first one. Much love to you all, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week.